Hello friends, we will have a new series of videos. I thought this is an interesting area that I really like. So geopolitics is something which interests me in UPSC preparation. So I thought of making a series of videos where we can talk about the geopolitics of the world, by which you will understand GS paper 2. So this is actually GS paper 2, international relations, but the nuances. So we'll take one issue, and we will go for that. Today I will talk about this Taliban and its connections to India's internal security. So you will have to understand that this also covers GS paper 3 as well. So international relations, Taliban, India's internal security, how it is connected, which you can connect it to GS paper 3 as well. So for this, we will start with this concept, or recently we are having this Taliban government which has come in Afghanistan. They are trying to make a canal. You please check this canal. It's called as this Kosh Tepa Canal. And before starting, so the source, source is IDSA site. So this is where IDSA and Hindu newspaper and other newspaper is where I am going to take these things. You can check this. This canal they are building in this Amu Darya. You please, closely watch this. This Amu Darya is one of the most important rivers, and this connects from this Aral Sea. You can also see it from here. So this Amu Darya, it will connect through from this Aral Sea, and it passes through multiple regions. Multiple regions is that in this Central Asia, it will pass through this Turkmenistan. So here it will pass through Turkmenistan, then Uzbekistan, then you will have this Tajikistan as well. So it is like, from the upper riparian to a lower riparian. Here, Afghanistan also is there, but it is one of the countries. And in the Central Asia, if you see these countries, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, these are all countries of the remnants of USSR. So after the breakup, they became different countries. Now they all can integrate themselves, and they are talking about this distribution. Suddenly, Taliban now has come, and they are talking about how do you distribute this Amu Darya, and they are building this canal in the northern Afghanistan. One more point that you should note is that this Amu Darya, or this river, was used in the 1990s, or not used in the 1990s. What the Russian USSR they did is that along this river they started planting this cotton. Okay, so these areas became prominent in the, which is the upper area, but the lower area, which is the Afghanistan area, they were not that much prominent. And as a result of so many invasions and fighting with Russians, then fighting with USA, so all these things in Afghanistan created this instability. See, in between a point came. So this is Afghanistan. So the northern area is where this Taliban is building this canal. This area, this, or it's northern province. You can check this: Bamiyan, Ghor, Ghazni. These are all, we would have heard their names in history, but these are all provinces in Afghanistan. What is the main theme of why this necessity of building a canal? Now you will need to understand that a little bit, and that is connected to our GS paper 3, internal security. And this is connected to this plant or the flower. It may seem as a very harmless flower, but the pod which is there, this is what gives this opium, or this is poppy cultivation. This is the poppy cultivation which is there, from which this heroin, which is dangerously addictive, and it's a very it's like from this morphine, painkillers, all these things are, that's why they are addictive. That's why they don't give you painkillers just like that, because from this, what they do is that from this they have the sap, some white color sap comes from this, they create this heroin. But what connection does this, northern or that canal has with this is that if you see Afghanistan happens to be in one of these two crescents. In GS paper 3, you would have seen that internal security, there are two important or two, not, primary zones in which drug manufacturing or drug, trafficking happens. One is this, it was called as the golden crescent and golden triangle. Now it is called as the death crescent and death triangle. Death triangle is the northeastern side. We will leave that because I'm talking about Taliban and other things. Now this death crescent is Iran, Afghanistan and Pakistan. If you see this death crescent, it goes to the lower, lower regions of this Afghanistan part, which is actually this Helmland, Kandahar. This is the area where you will find this in Pakistan. You will have this Baluchistan, which is actually an area where it is talking about moving away from Pakistan, and there is a lot of insurgency in there. And these areas are the prominent areas where you will find this drug cultivation. But this is transferred to the northern region as well. As a result, so much of population is dependent in Afghanistan on these drug manufacturing. Hence, what happens is that you look at this point, nearly recently, this was a Indian Express and Hindu report. Recently, 3,000. This is one of the largest consignment that they had, off the coast of. This was in Mundra port. You are finding it that it was from the, so if you see from, there is a port called as Chabahar will be there. This is an Iranian port. There is also, Bandar-e-Abbas. There is also one more port. And from here, what they have found is that from here, the transshipment has come and they had seized it off. So when they seized it, one interesting thing that you should note is that I said heroin. So heroin is where you find, but they had seized meth. Meth means methamphetamine. So this is a synthetic drug. Heroin is from, this poppy tree. But if from the, and this Bandar-e-Abbas, so from Afghanistan is where, this is in Iran. So these Chabahar port and both these things are in Iran. The transshipment would have come through this Afghanistan Golden Crescent, and they had taken it from here, and they are, taking it to Gujarat. From there, Europe and America and Southeast Asia, so many countries, they would ship that. So that's why, that's how they make the money. But the seized thing is meth. This is, so if it is meth is the largest, but how did, heroin is different from meth. Meth is actually kind of a cocaine. It's a stimulant. Methamphetamine is a synthetic drug. It's a stimulant. Heroin is from the painkiller, morphine. It's like an euphoria kind of a drug. How these two vary means, this is what you should understand. What has happened is that this is the this is the incident which recently happened. So if you see the history of Afghanistan, earlier they used to have this point of invasion between this 1980s and 90s. They had this invasion in Russia, or Russia invaded Afghanistan. That is where you find this Saddam Hussein. Sorry, not Saddam Hussein. Al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden. So Osama bin Laden was part of this movement of resistance against Russia. That's where he starts. Then after that, he starts, a global war on Western Europe and America. And that's where he becomes this prominent person in this Al-Qaeda. Now, the point is that after this, there came a regime called as Taliban. This Taliban regime was responsible for, I think this time also there is, I see there is an 814, or there is a Netflix series which happens. If you see, it was during this regime. And during this regime is where you find that this Bamiyan, you will have this region as a Bamiyan. This is where, they shattered this image of, not image, a sculpture of Buddha was there, very long, a huge UNESCO, standard of site. It is historically the most prominent site. but they destroyed it because they were an fundamentalist group who thought about how people should not worship any image or something like that. It's a fundamentalist group. But what happened after this was, so after this, that yesterday you will know this 9/11. Yesterday was the event. So after Taliban took over and the events were transpiring in Afghanistan, where there is Osama bin Laden and other people were there. But what happens after 9/11 is that this US invasion takes place. Once US invades, they take over the control from Taliban. But after some time, you found out that you were not able to govern the country as significantly as possible. So now again Taliban has come. Now once USA went out, again Taliban has come. Again these people have resorted to all these very conservative way of looking at the governance. So again, education of women and many other things they are restricting. You would have seen the images which are there in social media, and this is a problem. But one more repercussions happened is that according religiously, they actually prohibited heroin, that is poppy cultivation. So once Taliban comes, the religious fundamentalist conservative group, after this 2021, look at this. This is a data which I have taken from IDSA. Look at this cultivation of opium. You will find that the reduction is 95%. You will find one more reduction which is during this time. You can check this point. This is the time when Taliban was earlier also present, but once the invasion starts, it starts increasing and decreasing, but it is always in the production. But now the opium production is down. So now how does this, that's the point, the the ingredient or things which was seized in the port was methamphetamine. It was not poppy. That is because Taliban, once they came, they stopped this opium cultivation, but farmers cannot immediately switch. So what they went for is methamphetamine. This is the point. Now, if you see, this is methamphetamine seizure. This is Drugs and Crime Office of the UN, which says that look at the methamphetamine increase. Now the poppy cultivation has decreased because Taliban has come. But once you see this methamphetamine, now you can correlate to what it was seized in Gujarat. Now, if you see, the point is that they are not able to give up the habit of cultivation of this poppy or this lucrative thing which they had. Hence, they are now cultivating this point of, look at this, ephedra. Okay, this ephedra is nothing but, ephedra is the intermediate substance, or ephedra is a tree. It grows in the northern Afghanistan. Okay, it grows in northern Afghanistan above this mountains. So it grows in these mountains. This ephedra is nothing but, this is the intermediate. So look at this. This is the intermediate which actually is used in methamphetamine. So the farmers who were cultivating poppy, okay, so the farmers who were cultivating poppy, from which heroin used to come, and this was the point that they used to traffic into India and other countries. Now what has happened is that because Taliban has come, what now has happened, they have stopped poppy cultivation, which you saw that more than 95%, more than 95% reduction. So once this reduction comes, there is a higher chance of what the other, what the people will do is that they switch to ephedra. Growing ephedra, what has happened is that increase in methamphetamine. So this is a consequence which they have, done. But now, see, we have to stop all these things. And that is why, if you see, Taliban, in the first slide I showed you, the canal that they are building or trying is that once if they build this canal, they can make the switch of Afghanistan, people in Afghanistan, from which maximum of GDP is generated by these drugs. Now at least they can switch to crops. Climate change and other things are creating a lot of issues in this region because water rainfall is becoming very low, and once they switch to this canal, they would be able to make sense of try to make switch the farmers into growing a crop which is not harmful for humanity. And this is something which I found interesting. So like this, if you want me to discuss some other geopolitical topic, I will be very happy to discuss. I'll put the link for this article, which is an IDSA article. I'll put the link in the group. The Minds of Aspirant group, the link will be there. You can check Minds of Aspirant. I'll put this article there and the explanation there. Any other article, you put your comments so that I can make more such videos. Thank you. All the best.